Hello everyone, Jak Syn here on behalf of Fiend.com and Future Daze, and today we're sitting with Chris Young of Midnight Danger. How you doing today, Chris?
I'm fine, man. Thanks. Yeah, I'm great. At home, of course, but everything is fine around here.
That's great to hear. I know over here we're trying to keep as busy as can be with everything going on, but I think we're doing a good job of making it work, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. People are finding ways to deal with the situation, and of course, it's a weird thing. Like I don't remember being through anything like that before, and of course, it's bad and sad in many ways. But I think we're finding ways to deal with it, and I'm sure it's gonna be over soon.
I totally agree with that, and I think a lot of people are really adapting right now and using what they have at their disposal to really just kind of shine right now. And yes, well, it is tragic. I think a lot of us are really making the best of it right now. So, okay, so we're going to ask you a couple of questions today and see where it goes. Are you ready to do this?
Yeah, of course, man. Of course. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, let's get into it. What are three of your most memorable moments performing live?
Like the three best moments for me as Midnight Danger. I guess it was the first performance. That was back in 2017, and I was opening for Dance with the Dead from the US. And it's very interesting. That was very memorable because I didn't have any plans of playing live with Midnight Danger back then. I started this project and I just wanted to write the songs. I was really into synthwave and DarkSynth and Outrun and things like that. So I wanted to start the project and do my music, and that's what I wanted to do. But my favorite artists were, they still are in this scene, Dance with the Dead. And then, like when their show was announced in Stockholm, I got in touch with the promoter here, and he was already a fan of Midnight Danger. And then I got the opening act. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this just because it's like a personal thing. Like I want to open to the guys that like inspire me, and they are a big influence on me. And then I prepared the show, and in the beginning it was kind of weird because, as I said, I'm doing this because I want to like get closer to these guys, like have the chance to play with them. But I didn't know what to do live because I played a guitar and keyboard and synths and like DJ stuff. So what am I going to do? So I prepared a show that is a mix of these things, like doing some DJ stuff and also playing synths and also playing the guitar. And in the beginning, I thought it was going to be very weird because like I've been playing in bands, and then it's like you just get your instrument and play that one from the beginning to the end of the show. But I was going to do it anyways. And when I got there and when I got on stage, the venue was already packed. It was a sold out show, and they, like most people there, they knew my tracks and they were like screaming, yelling, and very excited about it. And that truly convinced me that okay, I should play live more with Midnight Danger. I should keep this going in the future. So that was a very remarkable moment for Midnight Danger, the very first performance, because that one convinced me to play the next ones. Like I have a really good reaction from the crowd, and everything went great. After that, like many other shows, but I would say the other two is the show that I played last year in Stockholm at a venue called The Baser. And I spent like a few months preparing that show because I included many new props and an original light show. So I had to prepare everything, and in the end, everything went great. And like I have an amazing stage production now, and it fits like really nice with the music. And I did it in Stockholm because I wouldn't have to travel with all the gear and all the stuff, so it was easier for me. And I'm very happy with the result. Like people really enjoyed it. So that was another memorable performance. And the other one was the third one, I would say it was the Horror Expo in Brazil. last year, which is like the biggest. It was the first event from this horror expo that's probably going to keep going through the years. Like they have one booked now, but we never know if the event is going to happen in October. Like we don't know how this situation will be until then, like with the lockdowns. And but the first one was very successful, and they have so they booked the next one in October. It's the biggest horror convention in South America, and like many attractions there, like, and there is a stage where bands perform, and I had the chance to perform there last year. It was really cool. Like my first show in Brazil was Midnight Danger, and since I'm Brazilian, like it's very yeah, it's very special to, like, I live in Sweden now, so I went back to Brazil and played as Midnight Danger for the first time, and it was a big event. And on the same stage there were Death Stars playing and Therion, so like very, very cool thing. I would say these three are my top three memorable moments with Midnight Danger on stage.
Those are some awesome, memorable moments. I mean, you know, you having your first show with Dance of the Dead, I mean, that's awesome. You know, similarly, that's funny because they're actually a big influence for me as well. I love Dance of the Dead. And I got to, when we did our Nightwave LA show here at the Echoplex, the first one that we did in Nightwave LA, they were performing that same night. So I was like, had this moment where I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm, you know, DJing, opening up for these guys here at the end of the night. So I totally understand where you're coming from with that one. And your live shows, from what I've been seeing on your live shows, they're very, very impressive as far as everything you have going on, all of your decor, everything you have up on stage. It's really well thought out. What was the inspiration behind wanting to up that live factor for you?
All right, thank you, man. Thanks, Ed. I'm really happy to hear that, because as I just said, like I spent a few months preparing that and like having ideas and trying new things. Like I guess there is nothing like so specific about it. It's just like I remember when I saw Perturbator live for the first time, I noticed he had really cool lights on his show, and then like I was one day I want to do that, like something like in that way, you know, that you have the synced lights with the music. And I think this is important not only for retro wave, synthwave, or like even for bands. It's really cool when you have the lights synced with the music, helping to create the mood. And I guess that's the answer even to the props, like the mood. Because I remember when I started listening to synthwave, it was all about the mood, about the vibes that the music was bringing to me. And that's why I love watching the YouTube videos where they have the music on top of old movies and things like that. So it feels like a soundtrack. And when I started to perform live, I didn't have any of that. It was only the music, but still the music gives you that that mood. And then I started to think like what my music looks like if you can say that. Basically, I like horror, and I guess the inspiration comes a lot from this idea of making the music visual, you know, like because I was watching this, I love watching these synthwave, retrowave videos with cyberpunk image or with horror image, especially horror. And then I was like, I want to show something like that live. And well, I love the 80s and synthwave. It's very, very inspired. And then I want to give this looks and this touch on my performance, like mixing like horror 80s and the light show. So I guess it's basically that. It's like trying to make the music more visual.
That's very true. I know what you were saying earlier is like giving your music a look or a feel. You know what I mean? Like visually representing your music. And I can definitely see that when I see your, when I hear your music and I see your live performance. It is, you can definitely see that this is the way your music, if your music will look a certain way, this is how it would look. And you're up there giving that visual appeal to the audience. I think it really enhances the entire show, the whole way.
Thank you so much. It is exactly how I want people to feel when they see the live performance. Like it's the visual representation of the music, and uh, definitely I will keep investing on these things because I think like the music deserves that. At least like if you think of the music as a soundtrack, as I think on synthwave.
What would you say is your favorite album/EP that you've worked on?
I'm very excited working on my new album now. It's not out yet. So, like, this is the first thing that comes to my mind when you ask. It's been very challenging to work in this album in many ways, and that I like, because I want to deliver. Like, I've learned a lot of things from the first album, and so I know what works better when I perform live and when people listen to my music. And I want to do the best I can in these things. So like I'm working in this new album now, and like I'm much more picky with the stuff I'm writing and like the way I'm producing things. So this is being very challenging and exciting. So I would say the experience I'm having now with this new album is the best so far. But like, of course, it was amazing to work on the first album too, because like everything was going well. Like I finished the album just after I had that first show with Midnight Danger that I talked about. So I was already like with a good timing. It was the momentum. I had like just before the show there was the compilation from New Retro Rave called Magnetron 2.0, and I was included on that compilation as well. So that one was released, and the show with Dance with the Dead, and I was convinced that I wanted to perform live. So yeah, let's use all the energy to finish this album so I can go on tour and do stuff like that. So it was very good to work on the first album as well. But I would say the experience of this one, it's like another level. Like at some points I really hate it, because I start like, I don't know how to finish this. Like, what should I do here? What should I do there? No, this doesn't sound right. And then I get crazy about it, and I'm like, fuck this shit. Like I'm not gonna release an album anymore, But at the same time, I love it. So like after a couple of days, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is like if I'm getting to this point, it's because it's gonna be good in the end.
You're exactly right. I think a lot of artists have this love-hate relationship with their music. One day it'll be like, oh my God, I love this track. And the next day you're kind of going like, I hate this track. It sounds like shit. I hate this part. But you find little things that work and little things that you have to get rid of. You add and subtract constantly on the things that as you're building in an album. And one of the things I love about your music is it's force behind it. Like it's that like you were talking about your horror elements and the cyberpunk elements. You can really hear those things coming through in the music. I really loved your album, Malignant Force. I thought it was a really good collection of some amazing songs, and I think it really works really well. Like you doing it at a live show. I would love to experience it here in Los Angeles sometime if you're gonna get over in our neck of the woods. I think that would be great. You did an amazing job on that album, so I want to congratulate you for that.
Thanks, man. Thank you so much. Happy to hear that. Like it's I know it can sound like a bit narcissistic, but I really love that album. Like I don't think I would have done anything different on that one, because it has these elements as you mentioned, and I still love that so much. And like this is this is what I mean about this new album. Like when I get there, I know, okay, this is for real. This is exactly what I wanted to do, and this is what I'm trying to do with the new album. And I think it was I got there with Malignant Force. I'm really happy that people can feel that too, because that's what I wanted to deliver. So every time like someone like say what you just said, just makes me really happy, because okay, I could really express my feelings with that music. And well, you said about coming to LA. Like, I guess I can say that now, I guess it's not a problem, but my agent was starting to work on a US tour for me just before the pandemic and everything. But then everything just had to be not canceled, but like it's on hold, because like there's no possibility of booking any shows right now. But well, the good news is that it's gonna happen sooner or later, and it's gonna be my pleasure to get to the US. I'm sure I'm gonna love it, and especially LA and the Nightwave party. Like if I have the chance to perform, and it's
Well,
gonna be my pleasure.
well, I am looking forward to that. I am looking forward to that very soon. And I know it's just on hold right now, and as soon as as soon as we get into our new normal, that'll be back on the docket, I'm sure. But another thing that I did want to mention too is like, your songs. Like I know for when I DJ the Nightwave events, or in the Future Daze events, people really love like, I play like Adrenaline Burst and like System Outage. Like those are some really great songs that like people are really getting into when I DJ that. And they'll come up and they'll go, hey, what was that song? Like, what was that track? Like, what did you play? I go, that's Midnight Danger. You don't know Midnight Danger? And they're like, oh man, I'm gonna check them out. I'm like, yes, you got to check out Midnight Danger. It's amazing. Such great music. I love it. I'm a personal fan.
Nice, man. Nice. I'm really happy to hear. Like, thank you so much for the support. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for making this awesome music. What was the drive behind getting you into making music and performing live?
I guess this goes back like decades ago. Like, okay, I'm not that old, but I mean, like in the 90s is when I got very interested in music, and like my first memories are like from listening to Michael Jackson. So the King. So like this is when I remember being like very connected to music, and I was amazed with his music and like his music videos his music videos, so like this is the first memory I have. Then my father used to listen to Queen a lot, so I remember listening to Brian May solos and like, oh my god, this is super great. So these are like the first memories I have, but many things happen like in the next years. Like I started to play keyboard. I guess that was the first instrument I played. I had like only basic lessons back then. Then sometime after that, I started to play the guitar, and like I was more into punk rock and stuff like that. But I really liked the attitude, and really wanted to be on stage doing that, because this is like a lot of badass attitude, and but then I started to get more into this like into heavier music, and then I got in love with Iron Maiden, and like the guitar works, so I wanted to play that, I want to learn how to play Iron Maiden solos and things like that. And then I was still in high school, and then I had my first band with some friends from school. And once you start playing with your friends, like at least for me, like I wanted to be on stage and to to show that to people, and to feel like just to understand how it feels to be on stage, like back then. Then after that, there was this guy I have to mention here. He's called André Matos, and he was the singer of a band, a Brazilian band called Angra. And the guitarist from that band plays on Megadeth now. It's that Kiko Loureiro guy. And this guy, André Matos, he passed away last year, and he died from a heart attack. But he's like an amazing musician. He plays all the instruments, and like he's a very good singer and a very good songwriter. And that made me and like a good performer as well. Like I remember seeing him live, and I was like, oh my god, when he entered the stage like that, I was like, fuck man, this is like I wanna feel that, you know. Is big inspiration because of the music and because of being like the front man of a band that got me really into this idea of, okay, I want to do this for real. Then a few years later, I heard this band Crash Diet from Sweden here, and it's a glam band, and their singer also passed away. And I was looking at their videos and I'm like, oh my god, this is like, look at this attitude right now. Because of course I love the 80s music and hard rock from 80s and glam metal from the 80s, and like you see all of those performances, and it's amazing. Of course that inspired me a lot. But the thing with Crash Diet is because that was happening now, you know. Okay, back then, like that was over 10 years ago already. But then like it was happening on that same moment, and I was like, okay, at this moment there is this guy with this big hair and like a lot of attitude playing this music. So every step that I'm telling you about made me more and more excited and confident about thinking like, this is what I want to do for life, you know. And if you see, it's like different styles. It's like Michael Jackson, it's like pop music, and then you have the punk rock a few years later, and then you have the power metal stuff from this Angra band, and then you have glam sleaze. I was always like, this is what I was born to do. Like I need to play and I need to make music and to be on stage. So it was not like one single moment. It's like a build up, you know, because a lot of people sometimes they are really into it and they just give up. And I don't think I'm giving up at any point. I'm just gonna keep playing because this is what I've been doing for most of my life now.
Isn't it amazing how all of these influences add up over the years into the kind of person that you are now? It kind of cements you into what you want to be, even though your creative style is very fluid and what you choose to represent is very fluid. But it really kind of cements you as, hey, I want to be an artist. This is it. This is what I want to do. I have art inside of myself that I want to convey to the world, and I'm going to do that in whatever way I can.
Yeah, I think it's amazing for sure. Like it's not entirely like, okay, I'm gonna be an artist. I do anything for like to be in the spotlight. It's not like that, because first it has a lot to do with how I feel, and because like most of the bands I had so far, they were like very underground stuff. And even though we played a few shows during like longer careers with that band and shorter, like it was very underground. So of course I want to get bigger with music, but I have the same feeling like from the beginning, you know. So it's much more to how I feel. And I think I'm, even though it's a lot of different styles and genres, I'm still like very picky with the stuff I like, you know. But definitely everything helped me to build my way of thinking about music and thinking about a song when I'm going to write. And everything helped me to feel how I feel when I'm gonna produce a new song. And I think synthwave is great because of that, because I'm not so much attached to like one thing, one genre, you know. Of course it is synthwave, it is one genre, but what I mean is I can express all of these feelings on synthwave And I never felt like that in any other genre, you know, like, okay, I'm playing like power metal, then power metal it is, and this is what I have to do. But on synthwave, for some reason, like I can use all these influences, like on the music, on the visuals, on the way I look, and you know. So I think this is everything that got me here. It still has a big influence, and it's still part of it, you know.
Well, that's very interesting to say, you know, because synthwave is a very it is a very broad genre, like the synthwave that we know today, because it encompasses like retrowave, outrun, dark synth, you know, even like cyberpunk elements, all that kind of stuff. It encompasses all of that. Some people, you know, they'll agree with that. Some people may think differently on that, but that is my opinion. I think it's like a giant rainbow, if you will. So on one side of the rainbow, you have your lighter stuff, and on the other side of the rainbow, you have your darker stuff. And everything falls in between that. So it gives you a lot of room to play and explore as an artist. And another thing that you were mentioning too earlier when you were talking about influences and things like that, Michael Jackson. That's always great. I love Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? I've been a huge fan of Michael Jackson since I was a kid. I remember hearing the Bad album when I was a young kid, and I was like going, "Who's bad? I'm bad. I'm bad."
Yeah. Well, that's the feeling. That's the idea, I guess. Whenever someone goes to a synthwave show, they will see it's a very diverse audience. Like I see like the metalheads, and I see goth, and I see punk, and I see like people from electronic. So it's a very diverse audience, and they all enjoy the music in their way. Like you see people like headbanging, and you see people dancing, and like you see like this stage diving and stuff like that. So it's very mixed, and I think it's cool. And some people say like on the internet groups like, yeah, synthwave, it's like too, I don't want to play synthwave anymore because I think I'm too attached to only one thing. But come on, man, it's like, it's fucking huge. Like there's so many possibilities. You can reach so many people with that, you know, unless you want to go like super mainstream, and then you cannot even do experimental stuff.
Well, I mean, I think that's very true because, you know, I know at our events that we do, like Nightwave, San Junipero, you know, Future Daze, the crowds that we see at these events, they are very diverse. Like you were saying, they are very diverse. You will get metalheads. You'll get people who are into hip hop. You'll get people who are into post-punk. You get people who are into trance or dubstep, or, you know, just regular Joe Blows off the street. Like you'll get all kinds of people. You get an entire rainbow of people at these events. So it's funny because a lot of people who are really into the genre will kind of stand there looking around at some of these events and go, I didn't know this many different people liked this style of music. And I go, well, I think it's a very universal genre, and a lot of people, they really enjoy it. It's such a fluid genre, and it has one foot in the past and one foot in the future.
It is nostalgic, and I guess that's what connects all these people together in the same place, you know.
What positive message would you give your fans out there?
So this is a very interesting question right now because of this moment we are living now, like with the pandemic and everything. And so my message in this situation is stay safe, and especially stay optimistic, because this is gonna end. It's not gonna last forever, and then everything will be back to normal. And in the meantime, if we stay optimistic, we find ways to keep life going in like the best way possible, and keep supporting music, because music is very powerful. Listen to your favorite songs and your favorite artists, because this is gonna help everyone to go through this.
Well, thank you so much for those wise words, and to everybody out there, listen to these words. They are some great ones. Thank you again for joining us today, Chris. Thank you to everybody who took this time to tune in and watch us have this conversation. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, as we have more videos on the way. Thank you so much, and we'll see you again next time, Chris.
Thank you so much, Jack. Thank you for the interview. It was great. It was my pleasure, and keep it up.
All right. Well, you have a good day. We'll see you soon.
You too. Bye-bye.